Here today we'll be talking about the law of sines. The law of sines is used to solve triangles, the missing parts, whether if it is sides or angles, given the fact that we have two angle measures and a side. We have been using our previous lessons to solve for the missing values of right triangles using our trig functions. Well, we're going to take that a little bit further. The law of sines is used to solve for missing triangles or parts of missing triangles when we're not given a right triangle. Now, the law of sines is given to us by the formula of sine A divided by A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C. All this is an extended proportion, and we know that the proportions are equal when we solve by cross products. Now, given the fact that we have the given triangle, we need to know our different parts. Well, if this is angle A, this is side A. Sorry. Here we have angle B and side B, angle C and side C. Notice that the capital letters represent the angles and the lowercase letters represent the sides that are opposite of those angles. So let's solve for this. Now, we've already stated that we have to have the angle measures of two angles and a side. So we're given here that angle A has a measure of 21 degrees. Angle B has a measure of 97 degrees. We want to solve for the missing angle of C and the sides of C and A if we are told that side B equals 16. In order to solve, we simply substitute in what we know. We are given that angle A is 21, so we're going to say that the sine of A, or sine 21 over A, is equal to the sine of 97 degrees over 16 is equal to the sine of C. Now, C, what is C? We can solve for C by knowing or using the measure of C is equal to 180 minus 21 plus 97. How do we know that? Well, the triangle angle sum theorem. The three angles of a triangle will equal 180 degrees. Thus, solving the equation, 180 minus 118 gives us that the measure of angle C is 62 degrees. Therefore, we can continue our proportion, and now we can solve. And what are we going to solve? Well, we have two proportions if we separate them. We can solve this proportion for A by cross multiplying 16 times the sine of 21 will equal A times the sine of 97. Solving for A, we would have to divide both sides by sine 97. Cancels. And we would then plug that into our calculator. So let's find our calculator. Let me just plug it in using our calculator. Now, we can say that the sine, or 16 sine 21 equals, and then divide that by the sine of 97 equals. Therefore, we can see that if we're rounding to the nearest tenth, that A is equal to 5.8. A would equal 5.8 approximately. Now, we would then solve for this side of the proportion. We would say that the sine of 97 over 16 is equal to sine 62 over C. Once again, we'd use our cross products, multiplying C times sine 97 would equal 16 times the sine of 62. Dividing or solving for C, we would divide by sine 97. Therefore, C is equal to, well, let's plug that into our calculator. 16 sine 62 equals divided by sine 97. And we see that C is approximately 14.2. And there's how the law of sines work. Provided that you have two angles and a side. And it can be any side, because as long as we have the two angles, we can always solve for the third missing side. And it's always important that we have one side, or if we have two angles, we can always solve for the missing angle. And it's important that we have at least one side. So I'm going to provide you with a problem. I want you to work it out, and then we'll check our work. So let's look at this example. I've already got it set up for you as far as your formula. You need to remember this proportion. All it is the sine of the angle divided by its opposite side in every case. So we have the following. Here is angle 60. Here's 78. Let's use a different color. Let's erase that. Let's try another color. It just doesn't look like it. What do we say? 60 degrees, 78 degrees, and we're told that this side here is 8 units. We want to solve for z, x, and y. First of all, z will equal to the following: 80, 180, minus the sum of the two angles because of our triangle angle sum theorem. Plugging that in, and we will get that the measure of angle z is equal to 42 degrees. Now, I should have let you solve for it. Solve for the missing two, x and y. And then, so pause the video, solve for it, and we'll check our work here in a second. So here we have the problem. We see that the sine of 60 degrees over y is equal to sine 78 over 8 equals sine of 42 over x. And we can then solve for the following. And there's our math. Oh, I'm sorry. X would equal 5.5. And that is the way that we would set it up. So, law of sines is used to solve for the missing parts of a triangle, any triangle, given the fact that you have two angles and a missing side.